All right, everybody. Welcome to the Family First Life Blue Collar Life Group podcast. We got in the studio today, fresh from New York. We're in Ashland, Kentucky, but we got Mr. Nick Emmick. What's up, Nick?
Thanks for having me. Glad to be here.
Yeah, for sure. This is the first time you've been in office, right? Here at the Kentucky.
Yeah.
Yeah. So have you ever been to Kentucky? Like actually been to Kentucky, or like not just passing through? Have you ever actually been here?
So not really. I mean, the closest I've been is Portsmouth, right? Which is just over the river. I've spent some time there, but other than that, no.
Yeah, my little brother that's running this podcast right now, that's where he grew up.
Really?
That's where my mom lives.
Gotcha.
Yeah, over in Portsmouth. What were you doing in Portsmouth?
I was hunting. Yeah. I was hunting Shawnee, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's where I was. It was because I went to college in 2020, right? And then like for some reason, like November to like February, I didn't have anything going on. Like I think we got out of school a little early. And two buddies of mine, we just went around traveling and hunting all over the place, like West Virginia, Pennsylvania, and then Portsmouth, Ohio. And Portsmouth was our last stop. And then we came for the first week of January. Deer hunting.
Yeah. That's brutal hunting that late season in January. Cold, man. I mean, if you don't find a food source, you're kind of in trouble.
Yeah. Well, so I'm from Buffalo, right? So like I'm used to the snow and used to the cold and stuff like that. But when we were here, it wasn't bad. I think it was like mid 40s during the day, maybe a little bit of rain, but other than that, it wasn't too bad.
Nice.
Yeah, there wasn't any snow on the ground.
What's funny is I used to do the same thing, man. I used to travel like because I grew up here in this tri-state area, so Kentucky, Ohio, West Virginia.
Mm-hmm.
I was always looking for a West Virginia spot because I had good Kentucky, Ohio spots, but West Virginia, it's tough terrain, right? And being an archery hunter, that's rough. You got to keep your thumb on what's going on in that area to have any shot at success. But me and my buddies, that's all we did. We ran through the hills and hollers around here, just chasing whitetail.
Yeah, we went to West Virginia as well, and it was gun season. We had like 6 inches of snow,
Brutal.
So we were just getting on tracks and just following them, right? And I ended up shooting a doe, and he ended up shooting 2 does and a buck. Yeah,
nice.
Maybe 2 does or just 1 doe and 1 buck, something like that. Yeah,
yeah, cool. I mean, people see you like here. I try to bring like real life to this because it's not just about helping families, selling insurance, sales, and all that good stuff. It's funny because sport players, right? Like you played sports, avid outdoorsmen. There's a lot of them in this industry and sales in general. And I don't know. What do you think? What do you think it is that, you know, people that are into sports and that are competitive, and then people that love the outdoors, like why are they attracted to sales?
Well, I think a big thing is like they can make their own time, right? A lot of times, like with this, like we could, like we could take time off if we wanted to. We don't, right? But we could. And I feel that like being goal oriented and everything like that, and actually have something to work towards, and building your dream, right? Not just somebody else's dream, and being able to take the time to do that, I think is what draws a lot of people to that.
Yeah, if you look at a lot of like successful avid archery hunters, right? They have jobs that allow them to, and that's what drew me initially to entrepreneurship and business because, dude, I wanted to hunt. I wanted to hunt. I didn't want people to tell me what to do. So like only having a week off or 2 weeks off to go hunt. And then like, if you have a family, they want you to go on vacation one of those weeks. So like you're going to the beach or something like that. And then you got like 1 week to chase a mature whitetail. No.
Yeah.
No, I used to load up and go to Idaho and bear hunt for 10 days.
Especially when you're hunting public land, like you need time. Yeah.
And it's hard to, I would give my last dollar and live out of the back of my truck with a camper shell to chase elk and mule deer and, all that good stuff.
Yeah. Because we were just talking the other day, right? Like my dad went to Colorado, right? And shot a bull in Colorado, and he was packing meat out, and he was calling me, he was just beat, right? And we were both talking like, dang, I would give up anything to be packing meat right now.
It's the first week of November right now. And when you came in the office today, what were we talking about? We were talking about whitetails. Chasing whitetails, man.
Yep.
Yeah, the first week in November, like I just get an itch. As soon as I can smell the leaves, turning in the air.
Mhm.
I'm just like, like
That
what?
first cold morning, it's just like,
Yeah, I
yeah.
know. I know. Yeah, I wanted to get that out of the way because the majority of the time, like when we talk in between your appointments or you call me randomly, or like a buddy of mine will shoot a big buck or something like that, I send you a picture of it while you're out,
Mhm.
and people, like I said, people see us up on the leaderboards and building agencies and taking over the world, but they don't realize that like we gave up a lot to do this. You
That's a
know,
fact.
we gave up a lot before I started here. That's what I mainly did. Was chase whitetails
Mhm.
and run long distances. You're a distance runner too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I wouldn't call myself a distance runner, but I run. Yeah.
But you just ran a 50 miler with trekking poles.
Yeah.
Most people would say that that's dumb
At a ski resort.
at a ski resort in the middle of, the tail end of the summer. Let me go run 50 miles real quick.
Yeah. And my last couple months of training, because like what we do takes a lot of time, right? And like since I travel so much, sometimes I won't get back to the hotel until like 11 at night, right? And I have to leave super early in the morning. So like my training the last couple months was not good. I was maybe running like 25 miles a week.
Well, yeah, but you did that while still being a top producer, in the entire insurance industry, not just Family First Life. Like I don't want to undermine what you've accomplished, and like people see us laughing and joking right now, but dude, there's a lot of discipline that goes into doing this and being a top producer. Like you got to hit a different level, you know. But talk about why you chose to give up the things that, because I know what the outdoors does for me and I love it.
Mhm.
And I'm chasing the day that I can do it forever, like to be honest with you, and never have a question. Oh, you want to go kill brown bear in Alaska? Cool, let's go do that. Right. That's what I'm chasing. And that's a lot of what drives me. But talk about why you've given up so much at 20 years old to do what you're doing now.
I think the main thing is like I understand that like hopefully someday, right? Like I'm working towards a point that like I can take time to do that, right? And then like I can take my brother and my dad on trips that like we've all dreamed of and we talked about when we were young, you know. But like we're gonna make it happen, right? Like you said, we're gonna take over the world, but like I'm gonna change our world, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's the little things like, growing up, like I mean, the things that I've been able to, I mean, we've talked about this, having the bass boat that I have, right? And being able to take my dad out on that bass boat and let him, like, that's the nicest bass boat he's ever fished on. And that's the love of his life is bass fishing,
Mm-hmm.
right? And the look on his face when he's out there, like trying to catch bass and beating the banks, and like how, like that's why I've done this. That's it. Like the money's cool, but that's it. And that's just like a small example, right? Um, but when you look at that and you say you want to change your world, you want to take your dad on those trips, you want to do that. Okay, but why do you wake up every day and do what you do? Like, why do you pick the phone up and dial? Why do you laugh when you get no showed? Why do you laugh when you have a no sell? Why do you laugh when you get chargebacks? Why?
So I'm relatively competitive, right? And
Just a little bit.
yeah, just a little bit. And number one, like I'm chasing Willis, right? Like I'm gonna catch him someday. I can't wait for it. But
No, you won't.
yeah, I will.
No, you won't.
Yeah, he knows.
No, you
He
won't.
knows I will someday. Yeah. And but I think I don't know, I just have like we have such a good opportunity here to be able to change our lives so fast. Right. Like a lot of times like what we were talking about time off, right? Like it would take 2 to 3 years to be able to get 2, 3 weeks off, like with a normal job. Right. Like with this in 2, 3 years, we can build an empire. Right. And it's just so cool to be able to have that opportunity in that vehicle that like we can change things so fast. And then we can just set up our future.
Yeah. Having the opportunity to dictate that yourself.
And I think the honest thing is like, I don't want to take it for granted. You know, I don't want to take this opportunity for granted and kind of sit back and wait for it to happen. No.
You know, the one thing I always look back is like boot camp sucked, right? My job training in the military sucked. Jumping out of airplanes, it sucked. I've had a knee surgery, right? It sucked, but the camaraderie, the brotherhood, the discipline, and everything, it was the best, worst experience of my life. So when I really got knee deep into this and building a legitimate business and an agency, I I look back like I went to boot camp like 15 years ago, right? And it's done so much for me, from opportunities to networking, discipline. I look at it kind of like that example, and I'm like, I'm still in the middle of this, especially another 18 to 24 months of helping people change their situation and change their lives. Yeah. Like it's like at that point, you're right. Like an empire has been built and you've brought so much value to other people that now the situation you wanted your life to, like what you wanted your life to look like, is going to come to you.
Yeah. It's been pretty cool to watch you shift, right? Because like you used to be in the field, right, and run a lot of appointments in the field and like be running around. But like now, like you still sell insurance, right? But like you're so focused on like helping Aaron Bowman and helping Kyle out and like just watching these other people find what you found, right? Like it's been so cool to watch you reach that, like I don't know what you call it, but like it's not an epiphany, right? Because I think you knew that, but it's just been super cool to watch like your mindset shift in terms of that.
Well, I'll use you as an example, right? When you first came, and I kind of gave you a hard time, and I was like, well, you can come to conference if you want to. Like you drove 15 hours to come to conference as a 19-year-old kid. Everybody watching this, you have no excuse not to come to conference. Like none. This kid was 19, got in his mom's car, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, you got in your mom's car and you drove 15 hours, and your mom's probably like, what's he doing?
Mm-hmm.
And you drove down there, right? Um, but you in the beginning, like you've leveled up faster than Willis did, and you've leveled up faster than I did. And you'll do the same on the building side and the coaching side. And it's like, yeah, you mentioned Bowman. He's, one of our new agents. He's already learned things that took me 3-4 months to learn, and he's in his first month, right? And the switch for me just happened when, I realized how much this has changed my life, and I owe it to other people. Like when they walk in this office, like Bowman did, and you literally look in their eyes and you see it, and all they need is someone to say, "Hey, man, come with me. Let me show you this. Let me show you this. I'm right here with you. Just sit down. Let's do this." And we sat right here at this table, right? And we changed his situation right here in this room. And that's powerful. So to me, the more people I can help do that, it's just the more people in my family that I'm going to be able to impact in different generations. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So you right now, talk about how long have you been doing this now? How long you been with us?
Since third week in February of 22, right? Yeah. Yeah. So what's that, like 10, 11 months, 9 months?
9 months.
9 months.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what do you think was your hardest, what was the hardest thing for you? Because you are super competitive, which most people are not going to be. And you are super driven, and you can self-motivate. Goggins talks about this all the time. Like you don't need headphones to motivate yourself, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what do you think was the hardest head fake for you in the beginning on your mindset to get up and rolling?
So I think the biggest thing, right, is my second week. I was in where was I? I was Northwest Pennsylvania, like Wilkes-Barre, Scranton area, right? And I was driving back home down the 86 in New York, and all of a sudden we hit a wall of snow, right? And I'm going too fast. I'm in Toyota Tundra, right? and I'm in 2-wheel drive. Definitely should have been in 4-wheel drive, but there was a bit of a vibration when I had it in 4-wheel drive, right? So I just wanted to drive in 2-wheel drive, and then I lost control, right? And I totaled it, and
Yeah,
that
just a
was my
couple weeks in.
second week into the business, and like I just bought a bunch of leads, right? And I'm all pumped up for my next like travel trip, and then I totaled my truck. I'm like, hey mom, can I use your car? Yeah, but yeah, it worked out. That was probably I don't know, it wasn't necessarily the hardest thing because like I was so blessed to be able to like be where I was, right? Because like it would have took me a long time to catch up like at my previous job, right? But like now, like that next couple of weeks, like I just went on a tear, right? And I was like, I need to make something happen just so I can.
It was a sense of urgency.
Yeah.
I talk all the time about creating a sense of urgency um, with new agents. And if you can create a sense of urgency, you can see results you never thought you could. I remember you didn't tell me about that until the next day.
Mm-hmm.
You're like, I totaled my truck, bro. I was like, no, you didn't. You're like, yeah, I did. I was like, no.
Yeah.
But you reacted extremely well to it.
Yeah, I didn't have any insurance. Well, I had the minimum amount of insurance, right? So, because it was just an old beat up truck. So I definitely wish I would have had comp on it so I could at least have gotten something, but it is what it is.
So let me ask you this. Everybody's watching this. What's Nick Emmick's favorite food?
That's an easy answer. I love ribeyes. Ribeyes with salt and butter. That's all I need.
That's all you need. You baste it in butter?
No.
You don't baste it in butter?
Nope. So basically, I'll cook it, right? Whatever way you want to cook it, reverse sear, cook it on the grill, whatever you need to do. And then when I pull it off the pan, I just put butter on it, salt all over it, let it rest for 4 or 5 minutes, and I just tear into it.
And you do that at the hotels, as you call it, the hotels.
Yeah, I have one that I stay at that has a grill. So once a week, usually Sunday nights, I'll get myself a ribeye.
So you got a 20-year-old kid out here traveling on the road, helping families selling insurance, eating ribeyes at night.
There's always people at the hotel that make fun of me.
They probably all know you.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, because I stay at the same hotel.
Yeah, that's really cool, man. So let me ask you this: as far as who do you listen to, like, because there's a lot of content out there on social media. Mm-hmm. So who do you listen to the most, podcast wise, motivational speaker wise, that type of thing?
So when I was, it was probably it was junior year. It was summer between like my junior and senior year. I got a job on a golf course, right? And I just sat on a lawnmower all day. That's all I did, just sit on a mower. So I just had my headphones in. And that's really when I found like the personal development space and stuff like that, I guess you could call it. So I just started listening to a ton of people. But for the most part, I listen to a lot of Andy Frisella's stuff. And I listen to like Napoleon Hill and Jim Rohn. Yeah. A lot of like the new podcasts, like Ed Milat as well. Yeah, Ed Milat.
That's good.
Super good interviewer. But yeah, I just kind of try and consume as much as I can. But I think it doesn't really mean anything to consume it, right? Like I really try and focus when I'm actually listening to it. Like I don't just drive aimlessly, right? Like I'm actually thinking when I hear something, yeah, I'll take out my phone and type it in my notes, right? But like, yeah, I think being able to apply the things, like you're right, like there's so much out there, right? But like if you can't break it down and apply it, like it doesn't mean anything.
Yeah, it's like the basic system that I use for new agents, right? Like this is your script. Here's the leads. Here's how we dial. Here's how you're going to book appointments. This is going to be your percentage at the end. Watch and see. Then you're going to go run the appointments. You're going to do this in home, and you're going to call me at this time, and you're going to close 3 out of 5 families.
Yeah. I called somebody on Saturday, and I was getting my butt kicked, and no showed and porched all day long, right? And I was talking to somebody. I'm like, dude, I'm just getting tore up today. And they're like, what are you going to change? I'm like, nothing. Like, I'm just going to keep doing what's working, right? Like, I'm not going to change nothing. No, and I'm like, the numbers will work out. They always do. They always do.
You may have a bad week, but you ain't never going to have a bad month. Not if you stay the course. Give me your quick 15-second, 20-second to an agent that's been here maybe a couple months and they're dipping their toes in, but they're not really fully committed or they're not getting the results. Leveling up from that to the next level, because I feel like that's where somebody will fall off. Give me your 15, 20 seconds on leveling up. What's your advice?
Yeah. So I think it's super important to always be working on your skills, right? Like if you're not growing, you're dying, right? Like I truly believe in that. But I think obviously just progressing in your skills and then just running more appointments. That's all, like just get in front of more people, however you have to do it, right? Just get in front of more people to really level up, right? Like if you're working your 9 to 5 and you only work like 3 or 4 appointments on a Saturday, like make that 10. Like figure out a way to make that 10. Even if you have to dial from like, let's say you get home at 5, right? Dial from 5:30 to 8 o'clock on Thursday and Friday to book for Saturday. Like you can do it. Right. So I think like if you think doing the same thing and then all of a sudden you're gonna pop off, no, it doesn't work that way.
I
You need
like
to do
it.
more. Yeah.
I like it. Normally, when you're going through a struggle, that means you're leveling up. Like if you're putting the effort in, and you're putting the time in, and you look yourself in the mirror, and you're like, "Yeah, I really am." Right? I'm putting in the effort and time. When you hit struggle, that's because you're leveling up.
Yeah. And those days where you're just struggling and everything you do that day is just struggling. You can't close anybody. Like those are the days you get good. Right. Cause like laydowns are laydowns. Anybody can sell laydowns, right? But like when you're getting your butt kicked all day and then at the end of the day, before you go to bed, what did I do wrong with those? Right. And then you figure out what you did wrong. So now the next day when you run into the same scenario, like you're gonna close it. Right. So like even on those days of struggle, like you're right, like you grow.
You grow. Yeah, you're right. If you're not growing, you're dying in anything in life. Doesn't matter what it is. Well, listen, man, I'm super happy that you got to come in here. Super happy that you're dialing in here, booking some appointments.
It's cool.
We're gonna have you host a call here in a little bit. Um, yeah, man, just keep doing what you're doing, dude. You're crushing it.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Yeah, for sure.